Welcome to AlphaCars Service Center. In this video, we're showing you how we are rust-proofing this pretty much brand new Nissan Frontier pickup truck. So this is a 2024 model, and it has exactly 57 miles on it. So pretty much it was driven home from the dealer, and then the client drove the truck right to AlphaCars. So what we're going to take a look at right now is the existing underbody condition. Some things even would surprise you, of where you might already find rust on a pretty much new truck where there's some unprotected areas. And we'll talk about how we're going to protect it and the products we're going to use. And if you would like an estimate, if you'd like to talk with our experts on what the best protective treatment plan is for your vehicle, give us a call at 978-263-9000. But now let's take a look at this Frontier. So the products we'll be using, we'll be switching between three products, those being Waxoyl Hardwax, Waxoyl Cavity Wax, and then an amber coating. So the amber coating is more of a lighter product, and we're going to be using that in just a couple areas, which I will show in this segment. So first off, let's take a look at the underbody. So there's a few areas like on the rear axle right here. If we look, you can see this nut right here on this bracket. There's actually rust already on those spot welds where that nut is tacked on there. And then if we look even at the drive shaft, we like to call these pieces really ready to rust right from the factory. And then even looking at all this orange, that's already rust, and on the steering knuckles here on the front. It's literally unprotected, just raw material that is ready to rust right from the factory. So we're going to use the Waxoyl Hardwax on pretty much the whole underbody, but we are going to remove the front and rear bumpers. We're going to remove even these splash shields, all four of those, and we're going to remove the front skid plate. So on the front skid plate, we're going to apply a chip guard on that. So that's actually even a different product, but we're going to apply a chip guard. So then that has some thick, tough protection on it from like stone chips and the like, with where this skid plate is. And then with the cavity wax, that is going to go, obviously inside all the enclosed areas, inside the frame, inside the rocker panels. So all these little plugs we're going to remove and spray the product inside the rocker panels, because this has kind of like an outer skin here. So it kind of has an outer skin and then an inner skin. In the inner area, if we look at this shape right here, this sticker, that's actually hiding that's actually a plug. It's hiding a hole to put material in there. So we've actually moved this one. So this one we just pushed up, or unstuck it and pushed up right there, where we can see the hole right there, where we can get the application on this inner area, this inner skin, because this and this are kind of separate areas. Same thing inside the front control arms. We can see there's kind of an inner skin to them. So all inside there. And if we look up in the unibody of the truck, this is above the rear of the transmission, kind of center of the truck, or under the cab, I should say. So there's some areas in here, right here. This area is actually all an enclosed area. There's a few other areas like that, even up in here. We can see where this cable's going up into the body. So all these areas where really salt and contaminants are going to all accumulate up there and just rust that out from the inside. Anywhere we can get our specialty tools, which are pretty much everywhere in this truck, it's going to be protected and undercoated. So even we can see right here, this inner area, everything is going to be protected there. We can actually see this is the gap between the cab and the bed. So the bed's right here, the cab's right here. So especially on the cab, as that's really a common area on most pickup trucks that unfortunately will have some, you know, rusting issues down the line, especially in like the cab corners and such. You can see even all these areas will get it as well. And we can see there is, like, same thing, when we see some of these vehicles, we're not sure what the manufacturer is trying to do or why they have kind of like a chip guard coating in some select areas. But if they did the whole underside in this stuff, then I mean, you wouldn't have to have these treatments done really. It'd be awesome, awesome rust protection right from the factory. But we can see like maybe 3 or 4% of the whole underbody has this. It's very little, and only in like little select areas. And I'm not sure exactly on why they chose those areas. Same thing inside the tow bar, inside the rear bumpers as they're going to be removed. So inside those structures, we're going to do inside of the tailgate, inside all the door skins. So there are, I don't have a door open here, but there are little access holes in the bottom of the doors that are actually drains for water draining out of the outer door skin. So even all those areas will get fogged with undercoating, and even, you know, inside all the frame, cross tubes in the frame, really, like I said, everywhere to give this truck the best protection possible. And lastly, in this segment, I will note these areas that already have rust that are, you know, very, very bare, including like even the front axles, like this area, give this another week or two, and this outer axle cup will be looking the same. We do have different options on how to protect those. One of them being to like refinish them, prime them, use industrial paint, and then undercoat them, or just prime and paint them. Just priming and paint them, that does make servicing the vehicle a bit easier because it's not, you know, sticky at all or anything. It's just paint at the end of the day. Or you can just clean this a little bit, scuff it a little bit, and then undercoat it. And that's what this client decided is what they want. So that's what we're gonna do in this one, but like I said, there are different options. And I forgot to mention earlier in this segment, we're also gonna drop the spare tire, so then we can make sure to get the product application, get that all above the tire and where it kind of sits up there. And then we're gonna use that amber coating product to do the you know, inside and the other side of this spare wheel. So we wanted to use the amber on this because it's a lighter coating, gonna offer really the same protection, but it's not, you know, it's not gonna risk setting off maybe the wheel balance of the wheel if it does need to be used. So that's why we decided we wanna use that product. But like I said, this will be removed and the areas above and even the wheel itself, because commonly you'll see these wheels will rust out badly, being, you know, kind of underneath the vehicle. So we're going to prevent that as well. And we're excited to get going on it. And in this video, we're going to kind of see the highlights of our applications and kind of learn a bit more as we go. You'll see this truck as it's, you know, disassembled, and we really get the product everywhere in those areas I spoke about. And now we've got the wheels off the Frontier. We've got the front and rear bumpers removed, as well as the splash guards and the fender wells. The technician is currently masking off the exhaust. That's the stage we're at, where we're gonna mask all the sensitive areas that we don't want the product on. But now we can really see all the access we have to these areas. And I wanna point something out on the front of the vehicle. So now that we're at the front, we can see into the engine bay there. Of course, all those sensitive areas and harnesses will be masked properly. But if we look inside of the fender here, we can see right here, there's this foam that Nissan uses to fill this panel gap, this interior gap. And that's really to help with some of the road noise from getting in the cabin, kind of dampen some vibrations. But that's not a good thing for rust, because that foam really acts as a sponge, and that's just going to accelerate moisture, you know, eating into the finish there, the paint finish. And of course, the painted areas on these interior panels are really not that thick at all. So what we're gonna do is make sure to do, the thick Waxoyl product over that, and that will seal this away, won't allow moisture to get to it, and really solve that problem. And also what we're gonna do is connect with the customer to approve a little bit more time, because we would need to remove the washer bottle, which is right here, to get that whole seam. So if I show you now the driver's side of the vehicle, we can see that foam that they use, and it goes, as far as you can see, it goes all the way up. And then of course, all of the areas up in here will get undercoated, or we'll get the product applied, including like the enclosed areas. You can see up here, there's a little enclosed area there. So really all these important areas. And we are impressed though with Nissan, how they run their, all their wiring harnesses. They're all secured properly. They're all secured out of the way of even, being like rubbing against things to help with vibration. Like this has its own holder here that was designed for this harness, so then it isn't just sitting on something and getting damaged over time from vibration. Same thing right here. These connectors have their own sophisticated bracket. So we are impressed with the build quality right there. What we're not so impressed with on the washer bottle, if we look from the factory, this fastener is over tightened and run right up through the plastic. So we can see this one is a little better. We can see the complete screw still, but this one, part of the screw is missing because it was over torqued at the factory. So what we're gonna be doing when we reinstall this is use some proper washers and of course torque them properly to not damage the plastic housing. And of course, as we know, this vehicle only has 57 miles. If we look inside of the fender in this seam, so we're looking right here, we can see all the stones and grit. There's even a leaf in there. This is 57 miles and all of this already made its way in there from under and behind the splash shields. So you can only imagine how much stuff would accumulate in there after 1,000 miles, never mind 100,000 miles. This whole area is really gonna be rusting from the inside out, and there's gonna be no way to catch that. So of course, we're able to fill all of this area with the product to prevent that from happening. Now we have the front tier all masked up and just about ready for the starting the product application. And speaking of product application, we have already started on, this is the rear bumper. So the rear bumper has a plastic cover, like a plastic outer skin, which is this here. We can see these like kind of pop rivets that hold it to this bracket, and then this bracket has a fastener to the metal inner bumper support or bumper frame. So we can see the product has been applied there. It's actually still pretty fresh, pretty wet in a few areas. It's been applied in all of the enclosed areas in there as well. And of course, these connectors and such were all masked off before the application. So these areas really, you would not have been able to get to them with the bumper still on the vehicle, or at least not thoroughly, especially these enclosed areas that are right up against the bed areas. That's why it's just such a great option to really do it right and disassemble some things on the vehicle. We can see the spare tire has had the amber coating or amber rust proofing, as you can see on the can there. It's had it applied on the inner surface, and we can see, it looks a little glossy, but with that being a clear product, you might guess that nothing was applied. And that's the beauty of that product, of that kind of invisible protection, so to speak. And we will talk about that amber coating just a bit more in a second here. This is that front shield, that front skid plate. This is getting, it hasn't been cleaned yet, but it's about to be cleaned and getting prepped for the stone guard or chip guard. Right here, these are the specialty tools that we use, these air sprayers. This one has a special nozzle where we can get it into all those enclosed areas, and this nozzle kind of shoots it out in all directions and aerates the product really nice. So those, of course, we have to thoroughly clean after every job, and that's what those are there. They're waiting to be used as they're clean and ready to go. And now if we step into our office, so to speak, we can see when we start spraying, we actually will tape this gap here together, so then we don't get, product in the rest of the shop. But let's take a look now. We can see mostly everything is masked up. I believe the technician might have a couple additional things to do just before he starts spraying, but we can see the exhaust, the propeller shaft, brake calipers. Of course, you can't see that because of this outer layer, but before this, the rotors and everything are individually wrapped. So even if there's overspray in this area, it's not going to get around this and onto the rotor faces. All that is, masked and wrapped properly. We can see there that the technician still has a little bit more to do. I'm shooting this video on the technician's lunchtime right now, so that's why still just a couple things to tidy up. But I just wanted to show, we can see how carefully this plastic is wrapped, and it's fully individually wrapped. The rotor, we can see it goes between the backing shield, which we want some sort of protection on, and the rotor itself. And then something that we proposed to the customer that I'm not aware if we've gotten a response or a sort of a decision yet. All these aluminum surfaces, like the transmission, transfer case, even the propeller shaft, we can apply that clear amber coating. Even this, the front differential, kind of front axle area here. Of course, this vehicle is independent front suspension, but it still has this kind of differential carrier axle set up in the front that the CV shafts come out of. But all this, even though it's aluminum, it'll still corrode and oxidize and not look great after a little time on the road. And that amber coating, especially even look at these bolt heads, that amber coating will really prevent that if applied to those items. So that is something, like I said, we did give the client the option. So you may or may not see that in this video, but of course I will let you know what ends up happening there. And then the last thing I'm going to mention in this segment is we did get approval and we did remove the washer bottle. We can see all the open space here, the harness with the taped connector to protect it from, I believe that was for the washer bottle pump. And then now we can see, if I get the light there just right, sorry for the lines in the video, the camera should self-adjust. Now we can see all the way up that kind of foam insulation line. Now we are able to get to that on that passenger side where we weren't able to before with that washer bottle still there. Now we have all the plastic removed. We can take a closer look at all the wheel wells and the enclosed areas. But first, I've had the technician leave these couple of doors open. Of course, they're carefully opened, so they're not contacting the lift or anything. And we've applied the amber coating up inside the doors in these enclosed areas. So let's take a look. We can see the orange coating there. And if we look at that black rectangle, the camera will focus, there we go. If you look at that black rectangle in there, that's a drain hole for the door skin. So all 4 doors have those drain holes. And what those are there for are when water gets in behind that outer door skin, which especially on the doors that have the windows that roll up and down, it's designed that way for when the water gets in through the window seal. That's where it drains out, is at the bottom of the door skin. So we use that amber coating, so it doesn't, it's a thinner coating, so it doesn't block up that drain hole. I showed you because if you block that up with like a thick, waxy coating, then that's gonna cause, other issues in itself, having water get trapped in there. And we even applied the amber coating inside this enclosed area. We can see there. Once again, it's stripped down. We'll of course clean that. We know there's plenty of coating in there. So that is also just another awesome area to protect, because of course on vehicles that have some age, you'll see bubbling rust start to be around these latches. And this is why, is because salt and water and grit gets under them, and then you don't even see the rust until it's too late. And now let me show you the driver's door. Once again, this door is larger, more drain holes, so there's some more drips here. That's totally normal. We, of course, want to make sure there's enough product in there, so we like to fill it and then have the drips to clean up after. Because, of course, if you just spray up in there a little bit and nothing ever drips out, you don't actually know if there's adequate coverage. So that is normal if you have a protective coating applied. Really, if it was done right and they use an adequate amount of coating, that is normal even a few days after having the vehicle back from the shop, to just have to maybe wipe that a little bit if you see a little bit seeping out. And now taking a look at the driver's wheel well, all looks so nice. And then the other product we're using was the cavity wax. So we can see this waxy substance there. You can see there's a little drip right there, and you can see it all in there. So that is the product that we use for all the enclosed areas, like with the frame, and the bigger areas where there's not like a little drain hole or something that we're worried about. So we can see, once again, the drips there. So then it had a adequate amount of coating. Taking a look up in these areas, you can see it's now isolated that foam substance away, so now that won't get soaked up with water. And awesome, it's awesome that we had the front bumper removed, able to do that, because we would not have been able to get to this front bumper support or crash bar. And we can see there the excess cavity wax. Really looks so nice. We can see, of course, wiring harnesses, engine components, things that we didn't want the coating on. You can see it's not on those things because we masked the vehicle properly. And then, of course, you can see all of the areas where the cavity wax has come out of the frame. So once again, that's another good sign. We will have a more full, thorough look underneath the vehicle once it is raised up more, but for now, with this being at our eye level, we're just taking a look at the wheel well areas. And then once again, like in this cross tube for the frame, you can see the cavity wax that it's through the complete tube, which is what you want. There's no dry areas in the center there. And really anywhere you can get your eyes on where there's a slight overlap or enclosed area, we did put cavity wax in there. Even inside the tow hitch there, and of course in those frame rails. And then one final look, this is our last wheel well, I believe. Once again, really complete coverage, no thin areas or skipped areas, really a complete and thorough job. And now we're back to the doors, which I had talked about, why the amber coating is applied in those enclosed areas. So now once we have the truck raised up, we can take a better look at the underbody. And we are, one of the last things we have to do, we did get approval to do the drive shaft, I believe, with the amber coating to protect that from corrosion. So we'll get to see that final outcome as well.
The cavity wax, which is the protection on the inside of the rocker panels, removed all these access plugs. You can see here in these areas, we took off the stick-on covers, which we are going to reinstall, and it is thoroughly coated from the inside as well. We taped off the drivetrain, and here is the aluminum propeller shaft. We applied amber coating to protect that, and we also applied amber coating to bare metal surfaces right there. The spare wheel is also covered with amber coating. It has a little bit of yellowish tint, but it is transparent. And then you can see pretty much the bed. It's coated all the way as far as you can reach with the extension for the nozzle. The tubes that typically rust, they're now fully coated on the inside. The frame rails are fully coated on the inside. And all the evap, you can see the evap lines and the fuel filler neck, everything is protected. The gas tank is plastic, so we don't have to worry much about that. All the hardware and clamps that we can access, they're all covered. Yeah, these are the access holes. We're going to replug them now, but that's what we use to get inside those enclosed areas. Obviously, we're not putting anything on the exhaust system, but you can see all the hardware, exposed hardware is all protected. And over here, you can see it's the cavity wax, the somewhat clear product that's coming out here. It's coming out there, and that's a good sign. That means there's just enough product in there that it's seeping out from the bottom. These were bare metal parts. We coated them, and you can see the flanges of the drive shafts. We coated them as well. All the hardware is coated, which is very important because when we go to service this vehicle down the road, you want these threads to be nice and unrusted. And here's one other thing we did. You can see this is the heavy-duty splash shield that is under the forward part of the engine compartment. This is the access cover to drain oil, and this pretty much had no protection. What we did is we applied heavy-duty chip guard on both sides, inside and outside, so now it can be easily handled. We wouldn't use the sticky wax, hard wax on it. Here's one more important detail. We have the windshield washer tank back inside the right fender compartment. You can see it was a good idea to remove it. Also, as we showed you earlier, the original bolts did not have, mounting bolts did not have any washers and or pushing into the plastic, and the plastic was ready to crack, so we did install stainless steel washers, and now it's going to hold up so much better.
And now we've reached the final segment of this video. The Nissan is all put back together, looking really, really nice. Of course, we've touched up any areas, given it kind of like a mini detail. Of course, handling the vehicle, taking parts on and off, we want to make sure there's no fingerprints or anything to be found there. We can see it looks like it was just driven off the showroom floor, which it pretty much was right before it came to AlphaCars. We can see 57 miles on this. Really such nice condition. And why is this such an exciting time now? Well, the vehicle is protected. The owner can enjoy it and not worry about the harsh New England conditions, ruining their investment, lowering the value of their investment by having all of the salt and chemicals they use on the roads in the winter, especially attack, the underside of the vehicle. And not only the underside of the vehicle, but of course, things will start eating at the fenders and like the rear bed, outer skin. We know if you're in New England, every time you take a trip out, you'll probably see a truck that has, bubbling rust around the wheel well, bubbling, penetrating rust at the bottom of the front fenders. And now this truck really, all that is gonna be prevented. So you might be asking, well, now we've done this whole treatment, how long does it last? Well, with the Waxoyl Hardwax product being applied, especially on the new vehicle surface where we prepped it really nice and it was really a perfect surface to start with, this stuff lasts a good while. We still, of course, recommend doing an annual inspection, but to give it just a number of how long would this treatment last, well, there's so many variables in that, you really just have to inspect the vehicle annually and see where you're at. Because depending on how our vehicle's used, some may not need a single touch-up in 5 years, others may need a few touch-ups, after a couple of years or so. where the coating might get a little thin in areas, like let's say behind those rear tires where the splash up from the road is directly gonna be, you know, on the metal surfaces that have the coating on them. So like I said, this product though, it does stay kind of tacky and it sticks really, really well to that surface, especially we do, you know, a nice thorough coating on it, and we make sure to go over, after we do the coating, we make sure to go over everything with a high-powered flashlight, because then you can see if there's any thin spots. That can be an easy thing to overlook, where you might get a vehicle that, you know, you might inspect it after a year and there's already some thin spots. Well, most likely those thin spots were probably thin to begin with, if the application just wasn't as thorough in the first place. So I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something new about how to protect your vehicle from these, you know, harsh New England conditions that we unfortunately deal with. So if you want an estimate of what a treatment like this will cost for your vehicle, give us a call, 978-263-9000, or send us an email at service@alphacars.com. We'd be happy to give you an estimate. Of course, there's no like set number. We can say how much does this cost, because it depends on the level of protection you want, the different products we can use, and of course the vehicle size, vehicle condition. So there's really not going to be just a set number that could cover all those variables. But we formulate these protection plans, you know, per vehicle, per customer, so we can really do exactly the amount of protection you want or you need on your vehicle. So just keep that in mind. So please leave a like on this video, then it gets recommended to other people, so we can all, you know, fight rust, fight the New England conditions, and have our vehicles still looking like this after, you know, 30, 40, 50, even 100,000 miles. Of course, if the vehicle is looked after. That's really what we like to see at AlphaCars, as we are, you know, vehicle enthusiasts, and we love being this thorough and love giving nice new vehicles like this the protection we feel they deserve. So this has been Ian reporting from our Boxborough location. Please subscribe so then you don't miss out on the latest motoring content.